Welcome to CATFACTSFUNNY. Today we're talking about a kind of change that doesn't announce itself. Not the kind you notice all at once. Not the kind that arrives with a clear moment you can point to. When a cat changes because of you, it happens quietly, gradually, almost invisibly, until one day you realize something fundamental is different. This episode is not about training cats or correcting behavior. It's about what happens when safety, patience, and consistency are present long enough for an animal to stop protecting itself and start being itself. The first phase, observation. When a cat first enters a home, even a loving one, they are not relaxed yet. They are watching. They are mapping sounds, movements, routines, and reactions. They are learning how unpredictable the environment is and how unpredictable you are inside it. Every footstep, every tone change, every sudden movement becomes data. In this early phase, cats conserve energy by staying alert rather than expressive. What looks like distance is often concentration. They are not withholding affection. They are gathering information. They are deciding whether this environment rewards calm or demands constant readiness. In this phase, your cat is not responding to your affection or your intentions. They are responding to patterns. How often voices rise, how hands move, what happens when they say no. Cats do not trust words. They trust outcomes repeated over time. This period can last days, weeks, or even months depending on past experiences. Nothing seems to be changing yet, but everything is being recorded. The role of consistency. A cat does not soften because of one gentle moment. They soften when gentleness becomes boringly consistent, when food arrives without tension, when space is respected every time, when reactions stop surprising them. Consistency removes the need to predict danger. For cats, stability is not emotional comfort. It is physical relief. A predictable environment allows their nervous system to downshift from constant readiness into something closer to rest. That shift is slow, but once it begins, it reshapes everything. At some point, your cat stops bracing for what might happen next. They begin to assume stability instead of preparing for disruption. They stop rehearsing escape routes in their mind. They start allocating energy to rest, curiosity, and engagement instead of survival. This shift is subtle, but it is everything. Sleep, the first real signal. One of the earliest signs of change is sleep. Not dramatic sleep, not full abandonment, but deeper rest than before. Muscles loosen, breathing slows, ears stop tracking every sound. The body releases tension it has been holding quietly. In cats, sleep is never careless. Even relaxed sleep contains awareness. So when sleep deepens, it means the environment has proven itself repeatedly. It means danger is no longer expected as the default. If your cat sleeps more soundly now than they once did, that is not age. It is not coincidence. It is the result of many small moments adding up to a sense of safety. That is safety. Claiming space. Another change appears in where a cat chooses to exist. A room they once avoided becomes tolerable. A corner becomes a resting place. A doorway becomes a place to pause instead of flee. These shifts happen quietly, without announcement. Cats often expand their physical world slowly, testing each space before committing to it. They may enter a room briefly, then retreat, then return again. Each visit is a question asked and answered. Over time, your cat stops treating the home like temporary shelter and starts treating it like territory. Not territory to defend, but territory they belong to. The home becomes navigable rather than threatening. This is a sign that fear is no longer managing their movement. From watching you to living with you. First, cats watch humans carefully. They study posture, speed, voice, and response. Humans are large, unpredictable animals, and early vigilance is self-protection. Over time, something changes. Your movements become predictable. Your presence becomes neutral. Eventually, it becomes grounding. The cat no longer tracks you as a potential disruption. This is when cats stop reacting to you and start existing alongside you. They move freely while you move. They rest while you are present. They share space without monitoring it. This is deeper trust than affection. Personality returning. As safety settles in, personality resurfaces. Playfulness returns. Curiosity reemerges. Confidence grows. These are not new traits appearing. They are traits that were suppressed to conserve energy and reduce risk. Fear compresses personality. Safety allows it to expand. When a cat no longer needs to be cautious, there is room for expression. A shy cat may not become bold, but they become visible. A cautious cat may not become reckless, but they become relaxed. A quiet cat may not become loud, but they become present. The change is not dramatic. It is authentic. Boundaries and respect. One of the most powerful reasons cats change around certain humans is boundary respect. Cats communicate discomfort early and subtly. When those signals are noticed, trust strengthens. When a cat learns that small signals are enough, they stop needing large ones. There is no need to escalate, no need to defend. The environment has proven it will listen. A cat that doesn't need to protect itself begins to soften. Their body language becomes quieter. Their reactions become slower. Their presence becomes more relaxed. Respect removes fear at its root. Why we often miss the change. Most people don't notice the exact moment their cat changes. There is no ceremony, no clear before and after. Change happens between days, not on them. You notice it indirectly, when you realize your cat hasn't hidden in weeks. When you remember they once startled at your presence and now don't. When routines feel smoother without explanation. You think they weren't always like this, and you're right. Cats do not change because they are forced to adapt, or because someone expects them to become easier, quieter, or more convenient to live with, but because over time safety begins to feel familiar, predictable, and reliable enough that vigilance is no longer required as a default state. What we often describe as change is not the cat becoming something new, but the gradual absence of fear allowing what was always there to surface without resistance. When a cat feels different now, calmer in their movements, softer in their reactions, more willing to exist openly within a space, it is rarely the result of a single moment or decision. It is the outcome of someone showing up in the same way day after day, responding with consistency rather than intensity, offering care without expectation, and allowing trust to form at the pace the cat required rather than the pace that felt comfortable to the human. Trust is not built only during moments of affection or closeness, but during the many quiet hours when nothing is asked for and nothing goes wrong, when routines remain steady, when boundaries are noticed before they need to be defended, and when space is offered freely instead of taken. These moments pass unnoticed at the time, yet they accumulate into something powerful and enduring. And if your cat is still watching from a distance, still choosing observation over approach, still moving carefully through shared space, this does not mean that progress has stalled or that connection is absent. It means the process is still unfolding in the only way that is honest for them, through patience, evaluation, and quiet testing of what the world offers in return for trust. Change, for cats, does not arrive loudly or dramatically. It settles in slowly, almost invisibly, until one day it no longer feels like change at all, but simply like home, like normal life, like safety that no longer needs to be questioned. And when that happens, the cat you see is not a different animal, but the same one, finally able to rest inside the life you share. Thank you for being the kind of presence that allows that kind of becoming to happen. The shared transformation. Cats change because of us, but we also change because of them. Living with a cat trains attention. It rewards calm, punishes inconsistency without cruelty. Over time, humans become quieter, more deliberate versions of themselves. Movements slow, voices soften, awareness sharpens. This mutual adjustment is rarely acknowledged, but it is real. Both species adapt to create a shared emotional rhythm. This is the relationship, mutual, subtle, and lasting. If your cat has changed since coming into your life, it is not an accident. It is evidence. Evidence that safety was felt, that consistency mattered, that someone stayed predictable long enough for trust to grow. And if your cat hasn't changed yet, that does not mean nothing is happening. Observation is part of trust. Distance can still be progress. Thank you for being here and spending this time reflecting on the quiet ways animals respond to care. If you'd like to continue exploring these calm, thoughtful stories about cats and connection, consider subscribing. Until next time, be gentle, be patient, and notice the small changes.